Book of Heaven, Volume 13. 1 May to 12 June 1921. Page 1–7. May 1, 1921. The human will casts dissimilarity between creator and creature. All is harmony for one who lives in the divine will. Continuing in my usual state, I found myself outside of myself in the midst of a multitude of people. Up high there was the Queen Mama, speaking to that people and crying, so much so that, holding a tuft of roses on her lap, she bathed them with her tears. I could not understand anything of what she was saying. I could only see that the people wanted to make tumults, and that the celestial Mama was begging it, crying, to calm down. Then she detached one rose and, pointing to me in the midst of so many people, she threw it to me. I looked at it. The rose was beaded with the tears of my dear Mama, and those tears were inviting me to pray for peace among the peoples. Afterwards, I found myself together with my sweet Jesus, and I prayed to him for peace among the peoples, and he, drawing me to himself, spoke to me about his most holy will, telling me, "My daughter, my will contains the creative power, and just as my will gave life to all things, so it has the power to destroy them. Now, the soul who lives in my volition also has the power to give life to good and to give death to evil." Within its immensity, she finds herself in the past, and wherever there are gaps of my glory, offenses not repaired, love not given to me, she fills the gaps of my glory. She makes for me the most beautiful reparations, and she gives me love for all. In my will, she spreads herself in the present, she extends to future centuries, and everywhere and for everyone she gives me that which creation owes me. In the soul who lives in my will I feel the echo of my power, of my love, of my sanctity. I feel the echo of her acts in each one of my acts. She runs everywhere, before me, behind me, and even inside of me. Wherever my will is, hers is there too. As my acts multiply themselves, hers too multiply. Only the human will puts disharmony between creature and creator. One single act of human will causes confusion between heaven and earth, and casts dissimilarity between creator and creature. On the other hand, all is harmony for one who lives in my will. Her things and mine harmonize together. I am with her on earth, and she is with me in heaven. One is the interest, one the life, one the will. See, creation did not move from my will in anything. The sky is always azure and starry. The sun is full of light and heat. The whole of creation is in perfect harmony. Each thing is the support of the other. It is always beautiful, fresh, young. It never grows old, nor does it lose one shadow of its beauty. On the contrary, it seems to rise every day more majestically, giving a sweet enchantment to all creatures. So would man have been, had he not withdrawn from my will. And so are the souls who live in my will. They are the new heavens, the new suns, the new earth, all flowery, even more varied with beauty and enchantment. May 21, 1921. Jesus finds rest in the souls who live in his will. As I was in my usual state, my always lovable Jesus made himself seen in my arms, in the act of taking rest. I pressed him to my heart, and I told him, "My love, say a word to me, why are you silent?" And Jesus, "My beloved daughter, rest is necessary to me. After I have spoken to you so much, I want the first effects of my words within you. You, work, doing what I have taught you, and I will rest. And once you have put my teachings into practice, I will come back again to speak to you about higher and more sublime things, in order to find rest more beautiful in you. Besides, if I do not rest in the souls who live in my will, in whom could I hope for rest? Only the souls who live in my will are able to give me rest. The living in my will forms the room for me, the acts done in my will form my bed. The repeated acts and the constancy in repeating them are the lullabies, the melodies and the opium to favor my sleep. However, while I sleep, I watch over you, in such a way that your will is nothing other than the outpouring of mine, your thoughts the outpouring of my intelligence, your word the outpouring of mine, your heart the outpouring of my heart. Therefore, even if you do not hear me speak, there is such dissolving of yourself within me, that you do not want, nor think, nor do anything but what I want and do. So, as long as you live in my will, you can be sure that everything that happens within you is me. June 2, 1921. In coming upon earth, Jesus said almost nothing or very little about his will. I was feeling very oppressed because I was told that they wanted to print all that my sweet Jesus had manifested to me about his most holy will. My distress was such that I also felt restless, and my sweet Jesus said to me in my interior, "Do you want to arbitrate yourself? That's a good one." Just because a teacher has chosen to dictate his doctrine to one pupil, this doctrine and the good which can be done through it, cannot be made public? This would be absurd, and would sadden the teacher. And then, there is nothing about you, it is all my doctrine. You have been nothing but a clerk. And just because I have chosen you, you would want to bury my teachings and therefore also my glory? But with all this, I felt restless, and my always lovable Jesus, coming out from within my interior, placed his arm around my neck, and holding me tightly, told me, "My beloved daughter, calm yourself, and make your Jesus content." And I, "My love, this sacrifice is too hard. At the mere thought that all that passed between you and me has to come out, I feel I am dying and my heart cracks for the pain. If I wrote, it was only to obey and for fear that you might be displeased. And now look into what a maze obedience is throwing me. My life, have pity on me, and put your holy hand in this. And Jesus, my daughter, if I want this sacrifice, you must be ready to make it. You must deny me nothing. Now, you must know that, in coming upon earth, I came to manifest my celestial doctrine, to make known my humanity, my fatherland, and the order which the creature had to maintain in order to reach heaven, in a word, the gospel. But I said almost nothing or very little about my will. I almost passed over it, only making them understand that the thing which I cared the most was the will of my Father. I said almost nothing about its qualities, about its height and greatness, and about the great goods which the creature receives by living in my volition, because the creature was too much of an infant in celestial things, and would have understood nothing. I just taught her to pray, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra, so that she might dispose herself to know this will of mine in order to love it, to do it, and therefore receive the gifts it contains. Now, that which I was to do at that time, the teachings about my will which I was to give to all, I have given to you. So, making them known is nothing but making up for what I myself was to do while on earth as the fulfillment of my coming. Don't you want me, then, to fulfill the purpose of my coming upon earth? Therefore, let me do. I will watch over everything and dispose everything, and you, follow me and be at peace. June 6, 1921. The greatest miracle that God can perform is a soul who lives in His will. I was dissolving myself in the holy will of blessed Jesus, and I thought to myself, which one is greater, more varied and more complex, the work of creation or the redeeming work? And my always lovable Jesus told me, my daughter, the redeeming work is greater, more varied and complex than the work of creation. Even more, it is so much greater, that each act of the redeeming work is immense seas which surround the work of creation. The work of creation, surrounded by the redeeming work, is nothing other than little rivulets surrounded by the immense seas of the redeeming work. Now, one who lives in my will, who takes my fiat voluntas tua as her own life, flows in these immense seas of the redeeming work, diffusing and expanding herself together with them, in such a way as to surpass the very work of creation. Therefore, only the life of my fiat can give true honor and glory to the work of creation, because my fiat multiplies and extends everywhere, it has no limits. On the other hand, the work of creation has its limits, nor can it become larger than it is. My daughter, the greatest miracle that my omnipotence can perform, is a soul who lives in my fiat. Do you think it is trivial that my will, holy, immense, eternal, descends into one creature, and that putting my will and hers together, I dissolve her in me, becoming the life of all that the creature does, even the most tiny things? So, her heartbeat, word, thought, motion, breath, are those of the living God within the creature. She conceals heaven and earth within herself, although, apparently, one sees a creature. Greater grace, a prodigy more portentous, a sanctity more heroic than my fiat, I could not give. See, the work of creation is great, the work of redemption is even greater, but my fiat, making the creature live in my will, surpasses both of them. In fact, in creation my fiat created and delivered my works, but did not remain as center of life in the created things. In redemption my fiat remained as center of life in my humanity, but did not remain as center of life in the creatures. Rather, if their will does not adhere to mine, they render vain the fruits of my redemption. But with my fiat, making the creature live in my will, I remain as center of life of the creature. And therefore I repeat to you, as other times, that my fiat voluntas tua will be the true glory of the work of creation and the fulfillment of the abundant fruits of the work of redemption. Here is the reason why I want nothing from you but that my fiat be your life, and that you look at nothing but my will, because I want to be the center of your life. June 12, 1921. There where God finds his life, he shall stop and dwell forever. Then will he rest, not in the work of creation, but within his own life. The soul must be the center of the divine will. Continuing in my usual state, my always lovable Jesus continues to speak to me about his holy will, telling me, "My beloved daughter, birth from my will. I do not want you sky-studded with stars. I would like it. I would find my work, but it would not satisfy me because I would not find myself. Nor do I want you sun, though I would find delight in it, I would find the shadow of my light and heat, but, not finding myself, I would pass over you. Nor do I want you flowery earth with flowers, plants and fruits, although it might please me, since I would find the breath of my fragrances, traces of my sweetness, the mastery of my creative hand. In sum, I would find my works, but not my life. Therefore, I would pass over everything, I would continue to wander without stopping, to find what? My life. And where will I find my life? In the soul who lives in my will. This is why I do not want you sky, sun or flowery earth, but center of my will, there where I find my life, I shall stop and dwell forever. Only then will I be content, I will rest not in my work, as in creation, but in my own life. Know that your life must be the fiat. My fiat delivered you to the light, and like a noble queen carrying the fiat creator in your womb, you must walk through the field of life upon the wings of that same fiat, sowing everywhere the seed of my will, in order to form many other centers of my life upon earth, and then come back into my own fiat in heaven. Be faithful to me, and my will be your life, the hand which leads you, the feet to walk, the mouth to speak. In sum, it will make up for you in everything.